Welcome back. This is CBS Breakfast Morning Show. It's a new day, new opportunities, isn't it?
It is.
My name is WANGUTUSI.
My name is DANFLOW, LINDWE, and we're glad to have you watching.
Yes, and now we are getting into our newspaper review. We are starting off with the Standard newspaper. We'll start by stating the headlines for you. So for the Standard newspaper, it's the bombshell, going down to describe how DP Gachagua spoke during an interview yesterday with the TV station.
Yes, and we're seeing, also the Daily Nation has highlighted the same story. So the tiff between the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and President William Ruto is taking new turns and twists. And it is interesting to see this.
Yes, that's quite interesting. Now on the Star, it's Shake Up Phase 2, whereby they're talking about the differences or the changes that have been made in the government so far, from the cabinets now to the parastatal. So this is what we'll be breaking down for you this morning. Also, just to highlight on the People Daily, the main story is the shame of beggar doctors. We've been hearing or seeing the news of different doctors or doctors in general being on strike and wanting their CBA to be implemented. So that's one of the other stories. On the Star, it is the shake-up Phase 2, as we have also just stated. And on Business Daily, it's Treasury seeks identity of crypto owners in new bill. So we'll start you off with the Standard newspaper, whereby it is about DP Gachagua and former or President William Ruto. Now, DP Gachagua went on air yesterday at KTN, and he was being interviewed on the occurrences of the Kasarani incident on Sunday. Now, according to the newspaper, former Deputy President has come out swinging against President Ruto. Gachagua exposes a festering rift over shady state appointments and rampant corruption, alleging that Ruto has turned the presidency into his personal ATM, even as he causes up to shadowy global players and the notorious Sudan, RSF, and M23 in DR Congo in gold smuggling deals. What do you think about this story, and what does it say about our government? I
think of late we've been seeing a lot of stories that are putting the integrity of the president into question. Because also for the Daily Nation, the former deputy president has called President William Ruto a liar, and by the accusations of even engaging with RSF, Sudan's RSF, and M23 in Congo, those are, it paints a bad light. Yeah. So we're hoping the president maybe can come out, maybe give his opinion of these allegations, because these are very heavy accusations for the head of state. Yeah.
Yes, very, very heavy accusations indeed. Now, what the Standard goes on to say is, Gachagua said this during his interview: Intumbi is the person who directs ministers on what to say in public, and he also tried to control my messaging, but I refused. Secondly, he said the president is only advancing his commercial interests using the presidency, which risks making Kenya a pariah state. Third, the president is also involved in business dealings with the RSF leadership, and I can confirm that he held meetings with M23 officials. So these are quite damning revelations by the former DP Rigathi Gachagua. And as we also discussed with you last week, is on the situation between the country and Sudan and the export of tea into their country because of the formation of an ulterior government right here in Kenya, which did not go through. So maybe we can jump into the Daily Nation. How do they expand on this story?
The Daily Nation, basically, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the president is a liar. So Gachagua yesterday launched a bare-knuckle pushback against President William Ruto's claims that he demanded 10 billion shillings to market the government's agenda in Mount Kenya region. And instead, he made a raft of fresh allegations against his former boss, including that he has secret recordings of a 2 billion shillings retirement package offered to him. He's saying this happened right before his impeachment last year. So I think this is definitely a developing story. We're hoping to see more how this unfolds. Remember, the president is also having a tiff with the former cabinet secretary for public service, that is Justin Muturi. So yeah, he has a lot to respond to, and eyes on him, actually.
Eyes on him for sure.
Yeah.
Now, moving away from politics, it's an exciting week for Drama Festival as the 63rd edition of it kicked off yesterday on Monday in Nakuru County. So, we are waiting to see how this National Drama Festival continues throughout the week. We also yesterday highlighted the story of Echoes of War, the play which had been banned from taking part in the drama festivals, but they ended up switching it back and they are set to perform. Will they win? Will they get to meet the president? Will they act this out? Because the whole play was surrounding the issues of the finance bill and the 2024 protests. So these are the developments when it comes to the drama festival. What do they say?
Also on the drama festival, you've seen the education PS BTOC has urged the young people to make positive content on social media instead of feeding their accounts with negativity. So yeah, we're hoping to see the kind of productions our young people have out there, our talented young people, of course. Yeah, for this is the 63rd National Drama Music Festival in the country.
Yeah,
a lot to watch from that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, getting deeper into the Standard newspaper, yesterday, Nahumicha said, I am clean on 3.5 billion mosquito net supply scandal. Now, getting deeper into the story, Ruto has nominated the former health CS as permanent representative to UN Habitat. Yesterday, we saw Susan Nahumicha, the former CS, answering to this position that she will be taking if approved, and she was stating that she is actually she is competent enough to run the docket, considering her previous roles in similar occurrences. Now we are waiting to see how this goes. There are a few other candidates who are also being vetted yesterday, including Abdi Dubat Fido, nominee for Consul General Arusha, Tanzania. Susan Nahumicha, as already stated, nominee for permanent representative UN Habitat. Caroline Karugu, nominee for PS East Africa Community. James Muhati, nominee for Consul General Guangzhou, China. And Peter Tum, Democratic Republic of Congo Ambassador nominee. And lastly, Judith Pereno, PS Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs nominee. So we're waiting to see how this story unfolds, and we will keep you up to date with that.
Also in other stories, the Star newspaper highlights Shake-up Phase 2. So it says Parastatals envoys next targets in Ruto-Raila deal. So basically we saw the President William Ruto and ODM Chief Raila Odinga, they came together for a handshake, and yeah, so from that we've been seeing allies to ODM, people allied to ODM getting ministerial positions, government positions, and it's like more people will actually, particularly from the ODM team, it's like more people will get more opportunities to serve in the Kenya Kwanza government. So we're hoping to see how that takes place, when will the reshuffling take place, and who will be a casualty and who will benefit from the reshuffle.
Nice. Yes, that is very true. Now, getting into more developments, especially in business, Treasury seeks identity of crypto owners in the new bill. Now, cryptocurrency has been one of the other new investments that Kenyans have been investing into, and we're waiting to see how this development affects them and affects digital currencies. As we have been talking about it, different investments in business are growing. We've heard of money market funds, we've heard of stock trades, and we will be sharing all this information with you, including how the stock is performing. Now, the Kenyan shilling has also been quite stable, considering the fact that there is a lot of global trends happening, but we are standing strong at 129 shillings, that is to the dollar, and we are waiting to see if this will also remain throughout the week, considering that yesterday the S&P and JP Morgan markets also fell after the president announced a new tariff, which turned out not to be true. So this led to a few markets in the United States collapsing. We will see if that affects Kenyan markets, and we'll keep you up to date on that.
And in other news, we are having a story here by Nation newspaper where Moses Kuria, the president's economic advisor, we are having he has been auctioned, and the court has okayed the move by the bank to auction him. The court says the bank was actually lawful. So Kuria has failed in his bid to stop Equity Bank from auctioning his property in Kiambu over a shillings 54 million debt. The High Court judge Alim Visram yesterday ruled that Moses Kuria had failed to meet the threshold required to stop the public sale. So yeah, that's an interesting story.
Yes. And now moving away from politics and business, we're getting into sports. Now today's champions or champs highlights, we have Arsenal versus Real Madrid. This will be happening at 10 p.m. and also Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan. So these are the games to look forward to tonight, happening at 10 p.m. As I've stated with you, it's Arsenal to host Real Madrid on the quarterfinal, and also Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan.
And also, I'm seeing an interesting story here by Daily Nation. At their back page, 5 chiefs taken by Al-Shabaab released. Murkomen says, so the chiefs were taken, I think, before President William Ruto visited the area.
Yes.
And that was alarming to have part of our security personnel being kidnapped in the country right before the president's visit.
Yes.
You know, and it's good to have them back. We are hoping they are healthy and safe wherever they are. Yeah,
and an interesting story relating to that, during former DP Gachagwa's press briefing yesterday, in his interview, he stated that this is not really something new, or it's not something that should be condoned, because according to CS Murkomen, they have been consulting with these Al-Shabaab militias who were responsible for this. Now, if you're looking at it diplomatically, does it mean that we are actually negotiating with terrorists, or what is behind this? Because considering the fact that this is a terrorist organization, we would have expected more from the security forces on how this situation was handled. However, it is still great news that they have been released. We are still waiting for them to come back into the country, because as stated, they are with authorities and they will be released back to their families soon. We will keep you updated on that and share the details as they unfold.
Also, Raf, there's actually a type of cold going on around. According to medics, it's influenza type A, and it doesn't respond to antibiotics. So please be on the lookout out there. So do you have a persistent flu? Watch out for outbreak of influenza A. So a troubling health crisis is quietly sweeping across the country, with hundreds battling an antibiotic-resistant strain of influenza A, according to health experts. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that.
Right here in studio, we can see people already getting masked up. You know, it's showing, it's proving that it is getting real. You should watch out for yourself right there. But now also getting deeper into health, we are talking about Kenya stares at vaccine crisis as US measles outbreak kills 3. Now, there has been a vaccination shortage in the country. We're waiting to see how CS, or the new CS, Aden Duale, also addresses this. But the Standard says failure to meet the 1.6 billion obligation to Gavi puts Kenya's childhood vaccination program at risk. Now, according to the data, 80% of Kenya's immunization coverage is 80% of the immunization coverage covers measles, malaria, pneumonia, pentavalent, and rotavirus vaccine that prevents different conditions. Now, 300,000 infants out of 1.5 million Kenyan children miss out on critical vaccines every year. So these are the facts that we are being presented with. We are waiting to see how this will affect the ministry as a whole, and also what they'll do to address this challenge.
And in international news, you're having here a story of gunmen killed at least 52 people in Nigeria's Plateau State. So gunmen have killed at least 52 people and displaced nearly 2,000 others over several days of attacks in northern Nigeria. So the reason for the attacks in 6 villages in Plateau Bokos district last week was not immediately known, but it is the worst outbreak of violence since December 2023, where more than 100 people were killed in the same district.
Interesting.
That's 52 people killed, and the reason is not known yet.
Yeah, that's quite devastating news right there.
And 2,000 displaced.
Yeah. Now, still on that international news, we also came to terms with the fact that there has been flooding in DR Congo, where 30 people have lost their lives so far. Considering the trend with some of these catastrophic incidents, we're also waiting to keep you up to date on that. because the weather is also changing. If you have been going out, you've noticed that it is a bit cloudy. However, we're also waiting to see, because the day also keeps changing. It gets a bit brighter during midday to about 4-5 p.m. We will be keeping you updated on that and many other news. Now, we've also been talking about tariffs.
Yeah.
President Donald Trump has been making a few key decisions, and it is highlighted here in today's Standard newspaper, whereby jitters over Trump's 10% tariff as data shows dip in EPZ jobs. Now, they go on to say America is a key export destination for Kenya, with tariffs now threatening 72 billion in annual exports and potentially impacting 60,000 jobs. Now, 105 billion in value of products has been sold outside the country or outside Kenya from EPZs in 2023 from 106 billion in 2022. So this is an increase, this is actually a decrease from 2022, and we're waiting to see how this will continue. 7,369 jobs have been lost in 2023 as exports to the US dipped, according to Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Now, 58,000 direct jobs have also been created under the AGOA and 100,000 indirect jobs with the apparel sector alone, according to Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Now, just to break this down easier and better for you as our viewers, when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to exporting, the key things that we are exporting out of the country are some of the apparel, the wares that we are making, the leather, the kangas, all the dressing items that come out of Kenya. However, the 10% tariff will make this more expensive for Kenyans to export, considering of the prices. Now, this is how different markets will be affected. We're waiting to also see how this story develops, and we will be keeping you up to date on that.
And also, in other story, this is about artificial intelligence. So firms to do away with call center agents as AI rules. So most businesses are actually rapidly adopting artificial intelligence to enhance efficiency, but now it's like there will be now a bit more of regulations, particularly for call agent centers. And yeah, we're hoping to see how that goes, because we know here in Kenya we also have call centers, and maybe they also adopt artificial intelligence into their operations.
Yes, that's an interesting development that we're waiting to see in line with technology and artificial intelligence. Now, bringing it closer home, CS Murkomen, a few among other political leaders, have been calling for restrictions on how artificial intelligence is used, especially in the dissemination of information on social media. We've been seeing different posts being put up of people in different situations, and AI is growing rapidly. So we are also waiting to see whether this ministry, or the Ministry of Interior coupled with the Ministry of Communication, what they'll be doing to this. Will they be restricting, or will they let Kenyans remain to have their freedom of expression, considering that this is just a new technology that also has its benefits as well as its negatives?
True.
Yeah. So we have gone through all or most of today's developments. Yes. Just a quick update also for you is in today's Star newspaper is MyGov, which is a free paper that you can be getting to understand what is also happening in the government, and also the different tenders available for you to apply for, as well as many other opportunities in the Star newspaper. So this has been the CBS Breakfast Show. My name is RAPH. WANGUTUSI.
My name is DANFLOW. LINDWE. Please remember to grab yourself a copy of the dailies on your way to work.
Yes, grab yourself a copy and stay tuned here at CBS News. We will be keeping you updated on this and more other stories in our subsequent bulletins at 1 p.m., 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. Have yourself a lovely day. Cheers.